Morning all. I'd like to show another amazing Blitz game from the Zurich Chess Challenge. This was on the 29th of January. Magnus Carlsen was playing white against Fabiano Caruana. The importance of this Blitz tournament was actually to help decide if players would get an extra white in the main event. So there was a little bit at stake for this tournament. And this was the first game Magnus had played as world champion against a really strong player. So the Italian #1, Caruana, playing black. E4 from Magnus, and Fabiano played the Sicilian defence, a very fighting choice. Knight F3, and now E6. You'll see that this bishop is opened up immediately with the move E6. After D4, C takes D4, Knight takes D4. It looks, in this position, you might think a little bit awkward to consider Knight F6 though, because there's no breaks on E5 here. At the moment, actually, there's a check. This is not really I think E5 is not really possible. Let's actually put it on the bits to just demonstrate this. In this position, E5, I think we can just play Queen A5 check. But nevertheless, in this particular setup here, black often plays either A6 or Knight C6, and actually A6 was played, and you might think this is a little bit weird that no pieces at all have been developed, but remember, this bishop, which has been immediately opened up, can actually be used sometimes. Now this next move is the main move, bishop D3, and what we have here is a Sicilian Can variation. And we had a very famous game just recently on this channel of a dangerous gambit against Botvinnik, played by Can. He was a fantastic player, an international master, very, very dangerous, dynamic player. And this is his Sicilian Can variation. He plays now, not Can, but Caruana plays actually now bishop C5, the second most popular move. And it looks a little bit on the unusual side to do this. Usually players with white, the main move is Knight B3, but Magnus played C3, and we get a very interesting situation. Often this kind of bishop C5, there would have been in usual Sicilians often bishop E3 with the threat of Knight E6, but here it's not a problem. The bishop's got its pigeonhole on A7 as well, and Knight B5 to D6 is covered. So it's a configuration geared up for an aggressive bishop for the moment. We see D6. It's quite unusual to see this outside of the pawn chain. Now Magnus plays Knight D2. Now Knight F6, and both sides castle. Here it looks as though F4 is a bit inhibited because there's always E5, so that's one advantage already of having this bishop outside of here. So without F4, F5, this structure is less at risk from such a structural attack. Magnus instead clamps down on the queen side. This B5 move is prevented. But now we get a really interesting plan from black. Fabiano plays E5. He doesn't mind about his D5 square being a bit weakened. It's quite difficult at the moment for Magnus Carlsen to exploit this D5 square. The pieces are kind of congested here. It will take time for this bishop to kind of weaken D5 further with a pin. This C3 pawn is inhibiting a knight going to D5. So it will take some time, but E3 could potentially be used as a pivot maneuver to get to either E5 or F5. Magnus chooses now Knight 4 to B3, and the bishop tucks itself on A7. And I think this is quite a magnificent Sicilian defence position. Very, very interesting indeed. We see now Knight C4, so this pivot square E3 could be used to get access to these two potentially weak light squares. Bishop E6 now, and it kind of indirectly discourages bishop E3 now, because if bishop E3, black might consider bishop takes C4. And what would happen here, if bishop takes A7 would lose a piece, so bishop takes B3, so white would be forced to play bishop takes C4 and accept double pawns. So I think unless white has good dynamic pressure here, this is to be avoided. Magnus does avoid it after this bishop e6. He doesn't play bishop e3. He plays actually queen e2. So maybe preparing something like bishop e3 a little bit later. Now we see knight c6, and the knight has a fantastic maneuver in this position, which is assisted by this aggressive pawn on e5. Bishop g5, and I'm going to show you now, after h6, Magnus puts his bishop on h4. Sometimes I think sometimes it's a matter of judgment to play this bishop g5 because you're allowing potentially useful tempo gainers. And here, g5 temporarily closes in the bishop after bishop g3. But of course, if white has time, white will get this bishop out, and maybe these light square weaknesses could be a problem. There is that pivot square e3 available for knight e3 after all, but there's something else highlighted by g5. It's not just about closing the bishop here. This f4 square is actually quite useful for black in this particular position, and Fabiano plays knight e7. He's got the idea of knight g6 to f4, so that's got to be balanced against any knight maneuver by white against these two squares. Knight bd2, knight g6. And here, personally, I think this is quite a delicious position for black if we look at it. It's very, very aggressive on the king's side. The structure seems very aggressive. Unlike, say, Sicilian to Sveshnikov, d5 is far off from being exploited, or f5 for that matter. They seem quite far off, and we've got this very aggressive bishop here pinning down f2 at the moment. So I think it's a very interesting position. Rook fe1 was played, and now a super aggressive move from Fabiano. Just h5, he's literally threatening now to win the bishop with h4. Something has to be done about that. Magnus plays h3. Now another aggressive move, h4. The bishop is driven back to h2. And yet another aggressive pawn move, g4. This is an amazing display so far by Fabiano Caruana. Really aggressive stuff, and the whole game has a kind of natural flow to it so far. King h1, and now Magnus is trying to get some counterplay down this g file in exchange for a pawn sacrifice, but this is taken. It does weaken the f3 square and other squares. G takes, bishop takes h3. This is a difficult position now already for white. Magnus plays rook g1, which is logical to try and use that g file. Now here black plays king g7. This gives resources like rook h6, rook h8, pardon me, to be available. Knight e3, as though f5 or d5 might be interesting to use. In this position, in particular, knight f5 is a key threat, actually. This would give white quite a lot of pressure. But now, this bishop on this diagonal is actually voluntarily given up to make sure there's no knight f5s in particular. So that trade-off of that beautiful dark square bishop, what will it give black? Well, Magnus plays queen takes e3, hitting the bishop here. And this is a really, really powerful move, especially for Blitz now. This next move, not moving the bishop, would, if the bishop is moved, white would be, I think, fine. One tempo like this is important here. If bishop e6, bishop e2, this is actually quite a bit of compensation for white. And white can even look forward to play f4 and open up things a little bit. So with the bishop here, this is quite dangerous, actually. And that dark square bishop gone. But no, there's a key move here. The bishop doesn't have to move in this position. Can you guess what black played here if I give you 10 seconds starting from now? Okay, Fabiano played knight g4. So this is indirectly defending the bishop because of knight takes f2 check. Let's have a quick look at that. If queen takes, knight takes f2. That's not possible. So knight g4, and now actually Magnus blunders a little bit, well, quite a bit. His best move, apparently, from a technical engine perspective, is rook takes g4 to sacrifice the exchange, and there is some compensation here for white. Sorry, if bishop e6, f4, and apparently there's about equal chances from an engine perspective here in this position. Black's king is a little bit vulnerable. This dark square bishop is a bit dangerous, and white's even got access to use d4 here. So this would be, I think, the best way to go actually. But Magnus actually stumbled a bit here. It was his first game, remember, though, as world champion against a really strong player, and only in Blitz, 4 minutes each with 2-second increments. He played actually queen f3. He may have been down to just seconds at this point. So queen f3 now allows a really strong reply in this position. Fabiano plays actually just queen f6. So white is not really threatening. Rook takes g4 with a big advantage here. This horrible bishop is left. If queen takes f6 here, the knight actually could be left on g4 with king takes f6. Really annoying that knight f2 is winning material in this position. So that really can't be tolerated. But would have to give up the exchange with rook g2. So white decided actually to give up the exchange here in effect with rook takes g4. So queen takes f3, knight takes f3, bishop takes g4. Black is the exchange up, and this bishop is still kind of hemmed in by this structure here. Now, a very clever looking move, knight takes h4 to try and use the g file, but this is just taken. And okay, Magnus plays rook g1, but black is the exchange up, and this bishop is still hemmed in. Knight f3, very powerful move. Rook takes g4, and now king f6, making way for rook h8 still. This is a very important threat in the position now to deal with. White plays rook g3, trying to evict the knight. The knight just snaps off the dark square bishop after king takes. Check, king g2. Now rook ag8, just pure exchange up for no compensation for white. After bishop c4, rook takes g3, fg. Fabiano starts putting his pawns on dark squares with a5, and Magnus, I think he resigned here or stepped over the time limit. But either way, it is a lost position. It's like -3 from an engine perspective. I just thought it was an interesting, I know it's a blitz game, but I thought it was a very interesting choice of Sicilian can, and showing how dangerous and aggressive the opportunities can be from manoeuvring a knight round potentially to f4, and very aggressive kingside pawn play. I hope you found that interesting. Comments or questions on YouTube. Thanks very much.